So, configuration files. What even are configuration files? What even is a configuration? Well, you have a program like nvim, so I'm going to assume like basic Linux knowledge here. You have a program, vim, and you want to configure the program. You might like configure it by inside of the program. In Vim, for instance, you press this character here, the two dots, which I don't know how it's called. I think colon. No idea. Yeah, I think it's colon. Yeah, and you write configuration commands such as like set line break. No idea what that does, but it does something. And in case I want to make this permanent, because if I exit the program with :q, I then have to write this again if I want my line break, What if I want it every time? Well, there is a configuration files, which is somewhere, in this case in that config, and vim init vim, which is a file. So and this file has a bunch of commands which are ran every single time vim is started, and it's like 500 lines of commands and comments and all of those, and this makes vim different. It configures it. So this is an example of a configuration file. My window manager also has a configuration file, so like that I can use all of these, like I can move windows like I like to move them. I can like do all things as I like. I even have like key bindings that are custom, if I, for instance, press Alt and then M, I mute the volume. And I can do the reverse, of course. So this is also configured, it's in that config, in the sxhkd, which is the program I use to do these things. And here it is. Configuration file. This is also a configuration file. My password, my Wi-Fi password, I connect to the password using the WPA supplicant program. It too has a configuration file, which is in the /etc WPA supplicant. There it is. That's also a configuration file. This is here. So as you might have noticed, problem with all of these configuration files is that they are everywhere. And I recently switched from a Manjaro distribution to an Arch Linux distribution, and I had this problem of like figuring out where all of my configuration files were and putting them in the same place in my new distribution. So this is very tedious. It would be better if I had all of my configuration files in a single folder, which I would then, of course, synchronize using something like GitHub. You can put things online with Git, like a GitHub, and just, in that way, I could just, like, when I move to a new system, I could just pull this central configuration files repository from GitHub and run a script to install all of those configuration files where they need to go. So this is basically what I have done, and this central repository is then in the config directory, in the home config directory, and it has all of the .dot files inside of the .dot files folder. All of them, like even xmonad, which is my window manager, its configuration file goes directly in the home directory, which is against the convention, the more modern convention of these files, which go like inside of the .config directory. This is more of a system configuration. They all go in different places, but what I'm doing here is having them all in a central repository. So I solved the problem of having them all and once I get to a new system, I can just go inside. I could just clone my config rep on GitHub. So I clone it, and it then goes inside of the config directory. I then run a script specifying my username. There are multiple ways of running the script. If I'm now in the user mode, so do this, here we are. I just ran the script. This will install them all and I don't have to worry about anything. So this is what I want to do. But this script has problems. So first of all, it's very long. So if we look at the script, I don't know why it does that, but I will fix it later. It's like 200 lines of bash code, which is not ideal. You know, bash is not a good language. It's old. It has a lot of like niche little things which you know are just a pain to deal with, and such as, you know, argument parsing. I have a function which has arguments, and they want to parse arguments. You need to use like this loop, which I don't even like. Well, I could guess at what it does. I could probably explain what it does, but it's just contorted to have like such a basic functionality, like interpreting flags, done in this way. It's very error prone. The syntax is janky. So what I want to do is turn this configuration script, which works, you know, in a more robust terminal application, which I will write in Rust. So if you are interested in, you know, solving this problem like I did, maybe as a side project, or if you just want to like follow along to have some basic Linux super user kind of lessons, along with programming things, because I will program like will program in a serious language, nothing against Bash, but like I think I will use Rust, and if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I will maybe like record my progress on the project. But the idea is to just symlink all of the files. So this is like the core part. I have a function defined which is called ln, so link gfg config e error, because it also will output an error. And this little function here as a first argument takes where the file should go, and as a second it takes the name of the file inside of the .files directory, which I showed you before, and it also takes as the second argument aliases. So as I said, it takes where the file should go. So here's like a full path on where the file should go, used for the WPA supplicant file, which should go in etc WPA supplicant. But like for this, instead of writing config, I have like an alias which is C, which points to that folder, since it's so common. So this is how you interpret these, and this is just a list of things. You have bashrc, so all of these. You have the hard copy option, because all of these use a symlink. So what's a symlink? It's a way of like making a fake file. Of course, that's not how it works, but it's like a metaphor to make you understand. It makes a fake file, and every time a program checks in the place where you made the symlink, which is like a fake file, it will find that symlink, and it will behave as if in the place where the symlink is, the file which is symlinked will be. So like if I have, like in this case, if I symlink the nvim directory inside of my .files directory, which is inside of my central repository, if I symlink that, so if I symlink this directory, which is here, if I do a symlink of this, and I put it as a second argument of ln as you put the destination of the symlink, and I put it like in my config vim, in this place it would be like if this directory will be here. It's as if this directory is also here. And every time I fire up nvim, nvim will check in that place the .config nvim, you know, and it will read the nvim directory, which is inside of the central repository. So this is what a symlink is, but it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. So I also have a way of hard copying the files, which is this. And I manage them, like I see if there are differences every time I update them. I run setup, I see if there are differences with the hard copied files, and if there are, I like save a backup, and I don't save a backup, I behave like I do. I also want to add backup functionality, but I don't implement. It's not implemented yet, so it's going to be implemented later in my videos. So in future videos in Rust, because this is getting ridiculous. This script is too long, and yeah, that's all.